Hello, everyone. What is going on? My name is Timpedia, and welcome to an episode of the TNT podcast that is numbered and is also called Tim's Last Podcast Forever.
Yep.
Is it?
Tim's
Is
last
this it? Is the
podcast.
No,
podcast actually canceled?
podcast not actually canceled, but
Find out
podcast
next time
future.
on
Podcast
TNT
future
Podcast.
very uncertain. So, just as a real life update for everybody before we get started. Well, first let's introduce everyone else because obviously we have the crew. We have on my right.
Friedman, also known as Andrew of the former TNT Podcast, but mostly known as Friedman.
And on my left.
A bad friend who ditches all the
Oh,
time.
boy.
Tyler. Just Tyler. Doesn't like anime. Tyler. Yep. I'm going there.
Former Dig Titty anime expert.
Yeah, former.
Anyway.
So
Go
yeah,
ahead.
Anyway.
so this is the podcast of changes because once again we do not have Aiden here. He is too cool for school.
Well, it's mostly because I asked him, like, yo, are you good? And he's like, well, there's an inconsistent schedule. I was like, we do it every weekend, but I get you when I didn't say anything earlier. But you
It
could
was a
ask.
booking
He's like,
issue.
I was like, whatever. He's playing Sea of Thieves. Yeah, I blew up his spot. I don't
Yeah.
give a fuck. Or probably.
Sea of
Actually,
Thieves.
I don't technically know. For
All
all I
right,
know.
we'll stop calling him out. Tim.
Yeah, I'm going to
start
call him out in
calling
case
your
he
whole
listens.
situation.
So this podcast is being recorded on literally the lowest slapdash setup I've ever had in my life. Yeah, so I have my tablet in front of me, a second monitor plugged into it through an HDMI converter. My microphone is in its normal stand, but it's in a cardboard tube holding it up straight. And I'm recording OBS through my tablet because I don't have an office right now. My entire basement is being redone, and my computer is not even plugged in. It's actually right behind the wall from me right now, but I am not even in my office. So that's why there also hasn't been any live streams of Elden Ring or anything like that. But before I even get an office back, I've talked before on here about how my wife is pregnant, and she is due before I have an office again. So, and potentially will have the baby before the next podcast window would even be. So who knows what's going to happen? So yeah,
Yeah, never going to hang out again. What he's saying, listeners,
podcast
expecting anything else.
canceled.
podcast canceled for real.
No,
But not
The,
actually.
the
need to
friendship
see-
canceled. What?
we wow, that's
Holy shit.
don't
damn.
let Val
What?
hear you.
No,
Public break.
in her pregnant state, she'd waddle over and try to kick the shit out of me, I'm sure.
Destroy your setup.
Yeah.
But yeah, so things are pretty crazy right now. But you know what's not crazy? The amount of news and everything we have. We have very little because Aiden's not here to talk about WoW once again. So
We can't have him do his huge
Oh,
expose
WoW's
on what's the deal with WoW.
garbage anyway.
But I might as well tackle it here. I love putting things in my calendar that people say, "Oh, ask me in a month if I did blah blah." So it was when Aiden had originally quit WoW. He said, "Mark my words, in 3 months I won't be playing this game." So I put it in my calendar, and I asked him on the day because we weren't recording the podcast. Turns out he still actually quit WoW. So good on him.
yeah,
I was gonna say I could answer that question for Aiden. He is not playing WoW.
Oh, he's playing Final Fantasy 14, which is like a whole different kind of poison he's got himself involved with.
I mean, but it's better though.
Yeah.
It's a not apparently as lethal poison. I can't really attest. I mean, I did play that game for a month. But
Damn.
I played it for an hour, and once I hit the cooldown for warping somewhere, I was like, okay, I'm not playing this game anymore.
Speaking
Damn.
of playing a game for an hour,
Oh
Wait,
man,
you played-
so the
played
Overwatch 2
Overwatch?
beta happened. I didn't get into it, but I was closely following what everyone was saying about it, and mostly just probing Luigi because he did have a chance to play the beta. And the gist of what I heard everyone whining about was that with Overwatch 2 PvP moving down to only one tank, they buffed all the tanks to be essentially this super character. Because much like tanks in Overwatch 1, a lot of your offensive push is based around your tanks keeping you alive. So now you have this mega role character, and a lot of them are super overtuned because they're not sure how this role is going to work out. And the general consensus is it still sucks. Everyone just wants to play DPS. So nothing has changed in Overwatch 1. Big problem with the beta is that even though this is Overwatch 2 and everyone's like, it's really just like Overwatch 1.1, let's be real here. For some reason, they're overhauling the UI and the UI isn't really ready for the beta. So the UI looks like garbage, but the actual game itself is just like Overwatch with new skins.
Damn.
So this is 100% just like a marketing disaster. In terms of gameplay, people are saying like the reworks are very good. Most of the issue has to do with the fact that you're down to one tank, and the tanks haven't been properly balanced for that. But overall, people are liking the reworks. I really don't think this is gonna revitalize esports. But if it can get people paying enough attention to Overwatch long enough for us to get this PvE shit, I'll be happy because that's honestly all I want at this point. I'm not playing Overwatch PvP anymore.
I've talked to like a bunch of people about this, especially my one buddy Dan. He plays this game still to this day, and that's all he's really looking forward to. He's like, at this point, like I don't really care. Like his whole comment was like, "Oh, I don't really give a shit anymore about like whatever the fuck that going on. Really, I'm just looking for the PvP at this or PvE at this point."
Yeah, it's it's weird. Blizzard does this really good job like making franchise and then just not making anything like playably fun for some reason. I don't know what's going on. What's real here? It's Blizzard. No one knows what's going on.
No.
But that's all I'm going to talk about for Overdank for a bit because even once it releases, I'm probably going to jump in to try it, but it's not going to be like some game breaking. I'm now playing this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I barely have time to game as is, so just waiting for that PvE expansion.
I
Is
mean,
that it?
I would
Yeah.
like to. I wouldn't mind playing PVE again. Like I did enjoy
Oh,
the
I'm
active.
gonna try and trick you into buying the
well,
PvE expansion when it
yeah,
drops.
I enjoyed playing PVE in the Overwatch game, but there were like it was like the Junkenstein's Revenge and like nothing else really.
Yeah, there were 3 maps,
Like-
each of which was available for 2 weeks out of the year. And Junkenstein was arguably like the most fun one.
That's not. It's just a wave
Was
defense.
it?
It's
Yeah,
literally
it is
just
just
tower
wave
defense with Overwatch
defense.
That's all it
characters.
is.
Yeah, I'm not sitting here praising it. That's why I'm like hoping the PvE expansion like actually is good and isn't just like more of this nonsense. But a man can dream.
A
Man
man
can
can dream.
Yeah, I don't
But
know.
yeah, the other part of this headline was that the beta launched and then like what did it have? It had 1.1 million viewers on Twitch when they had that whole promotion. And then it lost like 90% of its viewers and everyone was like, "Oh my god, Overwatch 2 dead on arrival." And it's like or hear me out. All these people just wanted beta access, so they just got their key and then left.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's such a dumb metric, especially when there's
way.
like promotions going with Blizzard like artificially inflating the stream numbers this way. It's stupid. Everyone's just looking to be mad about something.
Yeah, I don't
Everyone's
know.
just looking to cry dead game. Like, how often has League been called dead game, or how often has Fortnite been
Wait, you're
called
talking
dead
about League
game?
of Legends, the dead game? Yeah, dude, that game's so dead that it's totally
Damn.
still the biggest MOBA.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just I'd be happy to play PVE, but I also don't
What?
understand what the removal of one character from a role is.
So it boils down to they wanted to move from 6v6 to 5v5.
But why?
I wish I could tell you.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
I think they're like dead convinced of this esport thing where it's like every other professional game is 5v5. It's too hard to follow 6 players. It's too hard to balance tanks in combination with each other. You have too many characters with shields that if you have too many shield characters together, we have to nerf one of them, but then they're not good on their own. And they're like, fuck it, one tank. We only have to balance one tank. I'm not saying this is correct. I'm just explaining why they most likely did it.
Also, here's the honest question. Why was the development of Overwatch 2 taking this long? What here made it worth it?
I'll tell you the answer, Cotton. It was nothing.
So
Nothing's worth
I
it.
can tell you what happened, and this may be
Sure.
part of why Papa Jeff left. They wanted to move Overwatch to the Call of Duty model, where there was a new release every year. And they didn't want to. They wanted to stay on a single game patching, and the compromise was to do a soft sequel. And they got stuck in between trying to develop both types, one of a Overwatch every year type model, and then one of doing just a full-on sequel, and they got caught in the middle, and then Blizzard exploded. So it's a lot of small things that came together to create this underwhelming patch that is now Overwatch 2.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, sounds like ass.
Remember
Is
when?
what it is.
Remember when this game was like
Top of the world? I remember. Everyone was talking about it. Everyone was hyped for like there was months on end where we're just like, all right, they keep dropping hints. Who is Sombra? Like I remember the internet blowing up over this shit, and now no one cares. Like this is like I feel like they did the same thing with Diablo. Like when Diablo 3 came out, everyone was talking about it, and then it just completely fell off. StarCraft 2, massive. By the time the third expansion came out, no one gave a shit about StarCraft 2.
To be fair, that's RTSs in general.
Yeah. But I feel like you have to be able to do something here. Like this is Blizzard's now 3 for 3 on non-WoW proper. Okay, actually, 4 for 4 because I'll throw Heroes of the Storm in the mix because the same thing happened. They just have this hype release and they just don't follow through. Or they just push it on life support for way too long. Like I remember complaining to Luigi, like, how the fuck does Blizzard have their own convention every year? Like they don't make games, and the ones they do make, like, fizzle fast.
Yeah.
At least in the last 10 years they have. Anyway, we're lingering.
But like even it's just so shocking. Like I just that's what gets to me. Like how do you take like Overwatch really was like CS:GO was never nearly as big. It felt like Overwatch came out and had so much hype.
I mean, I don't know if I agree with that statement, but like Overwatch was definitely like.
Do you really think Overwatch never pulled ahead of CS:GO?
I don't think it did.
I don't have hard numbers. I just
at least
feel
not
like...
the esports scene. In terms of like regular players playing, yeah, Overwatch had more players, but in terms of like esports and Twitch presence, I think it probably beat Counter-Strike when it came out, but I don't think it followed through for very long. Like Counter-Strike has been like ever present.
Counter-Strike is the League of Legends of shooters. You know, it just keeps
for
going
real.
forever.
Damn. A League of Legends of shooters. You heard it here first, folks.
Speaking of Twitch views, though.
Oh, so this is a big one. So there's this big argument going on right now about what's going on with the future of Twitch. Is it going to lose to YouTube streaming? Because now Twitch has lightened their grip on streamers. You now no longer have to exclusively stream on Twitch if you're Twitch partnered. But as part of this, they announced new monetization tactics. At present, I think if you're a Twitch partner, the split is 70-30 between the creator and Twitch in terms of revenue. And I think they're trying to move everyone over to 50-50. So Twitch wants a bigger cut of ad revenue generated by your streams, bigger cut of like donations, bits, all that other nonsense. And a lot of people are seeing the writing on the wall that Amazon is upset that Twitch is losing the money and either wants it to make money or wants it shut down. So we're going to go in two routes. Either Twitch starts making more money and Twitch streamers start making less, or Twitch shuts down. And they've kind of, I don't know, made it easier for the Twitch partners to now just move over to YouTube Gaming because I don't think they're locked into exclusivity anymore.
You know what makes me feel really dumb?
What?
I feel really stupid when I look at things like YouTube, like Twitch, like Amazon, like... What's another good one? Twitter. Not really Twitter. But like you look at these... It feels like we're at the point where we have these websites that are too big to fail because of what they do. Like YouTube, it feels like we're never going to see YouTube get replaced by another by another video service like that, right?
So we're not, and there's a reason, but I'll let you continue your point before I replace it.
It bothers the shit out of me that we can't just, I don't know. I feel you probably get what I'm going to say, but it's like I feel like we should be able to just accept, hey, we're the best. We don't need to fuck over and drain our users for every dollar like Wizards and fucking Magic does.
As long as you're publicly traded, you have a legal responsibility to do that.
I fucking hate public companies.
Yeah, no, it's actually the worst. Shareholders are the actual worst.
Yes, this is why I don't like playing stonks. Because I'm contributing to the shit. Not stonks, bro.
Not Wall Street bets.
What were we gonna say,
No.
Freeman?
Attendees. What I was gonna say is I remember going on a massive rant about this during the I forget what the name of it was, but when Amazon Prime was like, we have our own anime streaming service that you have to pay extra for in addition to Prime. And it sucked because they were getting a lot of exclusive shows. Like they had Vinland Saga was one of the big ones where it's like, well, now I have to pay Amazon for this. And the problem was they were paying hand over fist for exclusive rights to like a good 20% of like for the year they were active for those 4 anime seasons. They were paying a lot of money for these shows and no one could compete. And it was 100% Amazon's usual AWS prints money. So we're going to go compete in industries and do things that would not be sustainable in those industries because we have fuck you money from AWS. And it seemed ridiculous that a company can go in and do this. And it's entirely legal, even though this kind of borderlines on, what are they called? Like conglomerations. Like where you have a bunch of different completely unrelated businesses all strapped together. And it sucked. And it was the same kind of idea with YouTube. YouTube for the longest time was not making a profit and was propped up by other Google services. And we're finally at the point where I believe YouTube pulls a profit on ad revenue. And the problem is if you want to compete with YouTube, you got to operate at a loss for a lot of time. And YouTube is such a massive service that you need the funds to operate at a massive loss just to compete. So it's less of this too big to fail in a lot of these like projects that are so big that you already need a big company to fund them to even have it exist in the first place. Like I think arguably YouTube's biggest competitor was like Vimeo. They announced this ridiculous change. Because I remember a lot of Patreon like creators were complaining about this, that a lot of them were hosting. I think Patreon's default video hosting service was Vimeo, but Vimeo decided they wanted to start upcharging users when they had a video that had more than like 1,000 views. But this change went, this change went through. They didn't notify anyone. They didn't notify Patreon. They just made the change, and suddenly, on a Patreon provider suddenly had charges to them for videos. Otherwise, they would get delisted. And this is for, like their entire Patreon catalog. Anyone who had like hundreds of like Patreon subscriber exclusive videos on Vimeo was now getting hit with these, you got to pay this fee or we're deleting your video. And it was 100% Vimeo just trying to soft acknowledge that they can't compete in the video streaming market. It's too expensive to do this shit for free and compete with YouTube. And I don't agree with Vimeo's approach to it, but I think it's kind of indicative that it's hard to fight against the big boys with small boy money.
Yeah. Well, it's okay. We keep contributing to that anyway.
Listeners, if you're not listening to the TNT podcast on YouTube, where the fuck are you listening to it? Because we should be posted exclusively on YouTube.
I have only uploaded this myself to YouTube, so that's impressive.
Yeah, for real. If you're listening to this on Spotify, go report the guy who posted this. He's infringing on our copyright.
Yeah.
Or tell him to get in contact with us, because I'd love to hand off the work of uploading it to Spotify and just give the raws to somebody else.
For real.
If someone else is making money off the TNT podcast, good for them.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I respect the hustle. But if I find you, I'm gonna have some strong words.
We will respectfully kill you.
You know what's not
respectfully.
You know what's not awesome?
What?
Trying to put out a new MOBA in today's day and age.
No. It's fine. So the reason it's fine to try is because who's trying this time. So for those of you who don't know, Theorycraft, the studio from the former Blizzard people, who is now starting to become the former Blizzard and Riot people, because a bunch of people from Riot seem to be leaving to go to Theorycraft, are doing their own MOBA. I think it's called Project Loki or something. That's like the temporary work in progress name. There's no way they're releasing a MOBA called Loki. But
I don't know, man.
At least in the concept,
it's not a copyrighted name by Marvel, so they can do whatever they want.
Look, how do I put this? I used to say never pay attention to the code names until the Nintendo DS launched as the Nintendo DS, and then I said, all right.
All right.
Maybe the next console will be called Project Revolution. Think about that for a second. We got the Nintendo Wii. Imagine it was called the Project Revolution. Anyway, on topic with this, the very limited promotional artwork they came out with is all very like watercolor painting. When I read that the Arcane art supervisor is working on this, it kind of all clicked together. If the game looks cool, I'll give it a shot. I don't like MOBAs that much. I used to play Heroes of the Storm a bit, but like how do I put this? Like I liked League. I didn't like playing League for an hour. I liked playing for 20 minutes, so I jumped into Heroes of the Storm just for that when that came out.
That's what ARAM is for.
Is it good though?
It's a mode in League. It's just five
I
people
know.
all
Is
in
it
one
good
lane.
though? Is what I'm saying.
I mean, I just play against bots because I can beat them in 20 minutes.
Not
So
why I used to do
that's
the same in
League.
Heroes of the Storm. I just need a quick time killer. But yeah, no. If it's good, I'll give it a shot. If it's free, I'll give it a shot. Which we all know is gonna be. You can't be a non-free MOBA.
No joke. I would love. So there was a mode in League. League puts out these rotating special game modes, and usually they're for people playing against each other. But there was a mode called Doombots, where they gave. It was basically playing against bots, but they were all like the cheater bots, where they had. It was literally like playing against like a league, like a computer with Game Shark. Data
Like it was actually cheating. It wasn't just like a hard AI.
Like their abilities had 5 other abilities tacked onto them. So like Lux, one of my favorite champs. One of her abilities is she throws out a little area. She throws out an orb that sits in an area for a few seconds, and you can detonate it at any time to deal damage to anyone in it, or it'll explode after like 3 seconds. In Doombots, instead of throwing 1 out, she would throw like 6 out in different areas around each other. So there were like a stack of them in or like an arc in front of her that would all land near each other. And if you were in it, you would just explode.
Jesus.
So it was just like multiplicatively better versions of their abilities. And honestly, I loved it because it was bots, but it was super challenging because you're playing against cheating bots. And like that seems fun. Like if you go in knowing that that's what you're gonna get, because right now when I play League bots, like honestly, it's not like it's challenging, and that's not me trying to say I'm good. Like intermediate bots is literally as high as they go in League, and they are not very good.
They're bad. Computers are bad at playing
yes,
MOBAs.
but it's intentionally so because it's kind of a training mode. You're supposed to play against real people, but I don't want to do that. I want to play against computers because I want to be able to just either chat online or just de-stress and just play against something that's fun. But playing against cheating computers, going in knowing that, was also fun. So I really like, that's the kind of thing that I would almost say would be fun in an Overwatch mode. Like, could you imagine like literally just playing Overwatch against bots, but the bots have like twice as many stats, but they're just bots. They're not as intelligent, so you have to play smart because it's the kind of thing where it forces you to play better because you are not as baseline as good. You know what I mean? Like so many games are like, ooh, you have the same stats as your opponent and you know exactly how they're doing going in. Whereas this is like, no, they're cheating, but I'm a human who has a brain.
Yeah, it takes advantage of the fact, like, if you're doing just regular bot games, like, the bot doesn't have a... The whole gimmick of League is that you should be on even footing at the start of the game, and being a bot inherently makes them not on even footing.
Yeah.
So I guess giving them that extra challenge is what makes that gameplay mode just, like, fun in the first place.
Exactly. So I wish... I know we got off topic from a new MOBA, but, like, talking about Overwatch 2 makes me kind of wish there was hey, let's have a MOBA that's fun against bots. I mean, I kind of wish League would bring back Doombots more, but whatever.
Look, we're in that era where I don't want to kill my homies. I want to kill with my homies.
Exactly. That's why we played Halo co-op. That's why we're waiting for... That's why after my son is born, I'll still find time to let's play fucking Halo Infinite co-op because I still haven't gotten to play that fucking game.
Yep. Oh, I know.
Tyler, actually, honest question. Has
What?
anyone in your group played Infinite's campaign? I don't think you did, right?
I did not.
I don't think Aiden did.
I don't think anyone did. Yeah, no one I know did.
God, I know none of us play. Like I didn't
Except
play
my
Halo
buddy
5.
who probably worked on the game, and technically I don't even know that he played the game all the way.
Jesus.
He probably did though.
But no, like, could you just? God, like I know Halo 5 was like that, but imagine like there was so much hype about Infinite coming out, and just none of us because we couldn't do co-op.
Yeah.
Like we have been together when we have pulled up clips of us playing like Halo co-op together and just had a good time reliving that.
It was pretty fun.
Like at least once I've pulled up the Warthog run from the end of Halo 3 where it's just like Tyler, me and you, and we just hear Aiden and Friedman like falling off the map.
Just, like, losing
Or
shit, yeah.
Or was it me and Aiden driving and you two were I thought you were on my.
I can't remember, but it
All I
was
remember is
funny
that-
though.
But
All I
then,
remember is that the platforms were dropping at your pace and we were not at
yes,
your
because that's
pace.
always why that co-op is super fucked up. Because if you do 4 people, the platforms drop with the first warthog that triggers it. So the people behind have to be real close or they get fucked. Or when we the final episode where we turned on all the skulls and we flew around in Halo 3 and watched the platforms.
Oh, yeah.
That was amazing.
That was good.
Or SWAT 4. Like, these are memories that we have of playing games against computers that are not like it's not against humans. And it feels like that's just so much of where gaming has gone, is the esports model. You know, like, or you're doing WoW, which is like a giant, like, what focused small group games are there for co-op? I've been looking, like, for years. That's why, what's the SWAT sequel that Tyler, you and Aiden played?
Oh, Ready or Not.
Yeah, Ready or Not. Like, when that comes out, that's going to be fucking great for us all to play co-op.
You should get it now.
When I have an office again, if we can
Should.
record, we will.
Get it. Fucking banger. They've been like having a bunch of updates for it and everything.
I would totally be down to record that in like the summer. But anyway,
Yeah,
we're so far. But the only reason I bring it up, like I said, is I just really want good small group co-op games, and I don't know why Overwatch 2 seems to be struggling to fucking do that. And I would be so thrilled if a MOBA tried to do that.
False. It's not gonna work.
Damn, just dropping the false.
Yeah, that's not gonna work.
Tyler, this is like the anime moment where you just see someone's face turn and they're completely not interested in it.
Just like completely deadpan.
I mean, we're talking about Kaguya earlier before the podcast when Kaguya just turns and goes, "How cute!"
Yeah.
How cute.
Literally.
Yeah. Yeah, that is the same kind of energy, ain't it?
Speaking of Kaguya, that's
Yeah,
related
this sounds like
to.
This just sounds like a ton of Weeb shit. Did the audio go through?
Yeah, you let it ride
good.
way long, which was great.
Yes, just let it go silent because I was like, all right, no, everyone stop laughing. Did the audio play? Anyway, not a lot of announcements here. We're in the middle of an anime season. I feel like I say this 3/4 of the time. But shows are airing, stuff's getting hype. If you're not watching Spy Family, go do it now. No one will shut the fuck up about it.
Oh, yeah.
But in terms of upcoming releases to talk about, 3 of these are show related and 1 is just weeb shit. The first one is the new Dragon Ball movie, Dragon Ball Super Superheroes.
Why are we still talking about this movie?
Because the only reason I'm talking about this is not about the movie, but about the nature of its release. So
fair.
It was announced that it is coming out in U.S. theaters this summer, but the big thing is that Crunchyroll's taking over instead of Funimation, which at first I was like, wow, and then I realized it's the same fucking company. It's not that big
like
of a
wow
deal.
or wow.
Wow. But the big deal is that they're releasing the movie outside the US. So Funimation used to not do releases outside the US, and Crunchyroll like struggled to pull it off. So this is Crunchyroll's first air quotes global theatrical release. I don't know how many countries are involved, but this is a good sign for anime fans outside of the US and outside of Japan that you will get your cool new hype movie releases there. So overall good news. It's unfortunate that it's strapped to the CG garbage of a movie.
It's amazing how this movie is just completely unhyped for everybody.
They've now released the same trailer for a 4th time, except this time it has English subtitles. And I can't get over how just none of it looks impressive at all. Like I get that with the subtitle superheroes, they're going for a more lighthearted plot line or whatever, but like, who is this movie for?
Damn.
Is it like little kids? The ones who were like, who only saw Super? Like, who is this? Who is this audience? I don't know, but I'm not going to whine about it. I'm not watching this movie.
Wait, can I just... Speaking of trailers, because there's one we forgot. The Made in Abyss Season 2 trailer came out.
Watched it.
We haven't either, but I was just... Because we're talking about trailers that people are hyped for. Fuck yeah, dude. Made in Abyss Season 2. That's definitely one of the most anticipated shows of next season.
Do we have a date
that's gonna be a good
I thought
cry.
we confirmed it's next season.
Cry.
Yes, July.
Yo, let's
this
go.
is. God damn. All right.
Tyler
Listeners.
keeps saying we're never gonna have time for anything, me and Val, once the baby's born. But fuck yeah, Made in Abyss, we're gonna cry with her.
Cry with our baby.
All 3 of you crying at the same time.
For very different reasons.
Jesus.
That's fucking hilarious. Anyway,
next announcements. This one, I don't know what to make of this. So, the Hero Academia animation team announced that over the course of this summer, 2 OVA episodes will release in Japanese theaters before streaming for the rest of the world. So it sounds like give it a month after they release in theaters, Crunchyroll's going to have it. With the first episode being a baseball-themed episode.
Oh my god!
And I saw this, and I sat there, and I was like, "What happened? What the fuck happened here?" When I saw season 1 of My Hero Academia way back when it aired, I thought, "This is cool. I want to see a serious high school of superheroes where the villains are competent and there's threats to the world, and it's semi-serious with some lighthearted jokes about All Might getting skinny." At what point did Japan say, I want a slice of life high school show. Can you do that instead? Like,
yeah.
Why is it doing this? Why has it devolved
money,
into this
please?
Yeah, money.
See, if they wanted money, I'd understand because they've been milking these movies every year. But they're not doing a movie this year. They're doing this 2-episode OVA project instead. So instead of even attempting something of a plot line, something of seriousness, we're getting a baseball episode. We're getting a baseball filler episode in theaters is what they're giving us.
My Villain Academia arc. People are dying. Play baseball.
I don't know what the fuck is going on here. Like, Shonen Jump is pretty good with the rest of their properties. We're reaching that era where when a Shonen Jump anime gets announced, it's hype because you know it's going to be fucking good. And Hero Academia is sitting around here doing filler baseball episodes in theater. I'm so pissed. I'm so
not
mad
surprised
at how far this has fallen.
Not surprised though.
I'm not surprised. I'm just angry.
Speaking of movies, though, this actually reminded me once again of Made in Abyss. Because I was texting Jess the other day, and she's like, "Oh, yeah, I didn't even know there was a movie for Made in Abyss. I didn't. Where can I watch it?" And I went, "There's no fucking legal way to watch this goddamn movie."
Wait, did they even release it on Blu-ray in the US?
Oh, I don't even know. But like, who counts that? Come on, just let me stream my content. Stop being chumps.
This is Japan, where we still print anime on
is it
VHS.
Okay? Legitimate question, Freeman. You're checking. Like, is it available on Blu-ray? Because I kind of want to buy the Blu-ray anyway.
The Japanese version is $20.
Get the fuck out!
Damn.
What? How they can't keep getting away with it?
They can't keep getting away.
They actually
with
can't keep getting away with this. Why the fuck?
I'm upset because that meme was brought up in my other group like
was
not
it really?
2 hours ago. Yeah.
Nice.
They only have the first 2 recap movies available for sale. I don't think they have.
Oh my god!
I'm searching the company that actually owns the license, Sentai Filmworks, and they do not have it. They just don't. They just don't have it. What? How? Did they at least announce a Blu-ray for this? No. Wow. Okay. Amazing. This is like, how do I put this? The Bunny Girl Senpai movies in the same scenario where
I don't know when we're ever gonna watch that fucking movie.
Where Aniplex still thinks people pay $90 for a Blu-ray for this movie, and there's no other way to get it.
Freeman, can you just like find me copies of both these movies so we can?
What do you mean? We just sail the 7 seas.
Yeah, I'll go searching
but
for you.
I don't have a computer right now, so I can't do that.
I'll go
but as soon as I have a computer, I'm also gonna have my media PC set up. So.
What are the odds of this movie is in 4K with subtitles on the hub, like the Dragon Ball movie was?
It's possible. There's a good chance.
Maybe
we can go right now.
I'm sure someone has it on their Plex server.
Anyway, moving on. Just get to the last 2.
I can't even pay to stream it on fucking YouTube or anything. Jesus.
They don't want your money.
What about the hub?
We'll check later. But real quick, I need to get through some meme news here.
Yes.
So for anyone who's out of the loop, Initial D sort of has a sequel manga called MF Ghost, and last year
I'm so fucking hype.
So last year, all right, I'm gonna explain. Listeners, I'm gonna explain you why Tyler's so hyped. So for anyone who's out of the know, Initial D is famously associated with Eurobeat. It was like 3 or 4 years ago, they came up with new movies, redoing the first like 10-ish episodes of Initial D with new art style, new everything. It looked really up to date, and they just dropped Eurobeat, and it sucked. It sucked. It was cool to watch, but without the Eurobeat, it lost its magic. And then for anyone who watched original Initial D, they used to release these things called battle stages where they would cut together the best parts of the best fights and just put them in these like high-paced montages.
I like how you call them fights in the fucking car. I know what you mean.
Races,
but it's just
whatever.
He's not wrong.
I
it's
know,
called
no,
battle
I know.
stages.
No, like I said, I get it, but it's just funny to hear like the sick battle in this driving anime.
Like you can hit, like I'm picturing there's probably Initial D videos in YouTube titled like top 10 anime battles from Initial D fourth stage. The point is they took these 3 movies and they released them into their own battle stages where the only change is it's only the fight sequences, and they added Eurobeat back in because they realized how much people like fucking love Eurobeat. And much like the Made in Abyss movie, I can't find these edited versions
Oh
anywhere on
my
the internet,
god.
even though they came out like February of this year. So I'm looking for those. But the point is, the MF Ghost trailer drops, and what do they have in the trailer?
Wow, that
Jesus.
sounds
Holy
terrible.
crap! Why is it so much louder than all the other sound effects I have?
Why was that so much worse quality than all the other sound effects?
Because it's probably clipping on all your headphones.
True.
Anyway, point is, go watch the MF Ghost trailer. They have Eurobeat back. It is still CG cars. It looks a lot better. New character designs. I'm pretty sure it's Takumi in the last shot. Either way, I'm excited for MF Ghost, despite what people have to say about the plot line.
So why is it sort of a sequel?
So it's not like it's about a different character in a different type of racing sport, and then I think for the first couple chapters they didn't allude to it, and then at a certain point the main character of Initial D shows up, confirming that it is a sequel. It was meant to just be like the author doing a different style.
And then he went, I need to cash in on my fucking popularity of Initial D, so...
Yeah, for real. It's...
What were we going to say, Tyler?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, it's featuring the brand new Toyota 86. Just saying.
Look, when we saw them pulling Initial D back in for the marketing campaign for the updated 86 model, I knew it. I was like, all right, you know what? Toyota wants some of this money. They're going to cash in on this Eurobeat nostalgia.
Some of this money.
Yeah. You know how many like anime nerds, like specifically like Initial D, are at drifting events? Too many.
It's a lot.
Too many. I would say.
How many anime cars have been fucking seen at drifting?
Dude, like Initial D, like I don't even blame Fast and the Furious for people paying like a gross amount for like a Nissan 240SX or like an RX-7. You buy an RX-7 for way too much money, and people are like, yo, I want that spinning Dorito, even though it's only got like 10,000 more miles. Like, it's so bad. Like, I'm not even a car guy like that. Do you know what I'm talking about, Tim?
No.
Look up the rotary engine. It is literally a spinning Dorito. And that's what's in the...
It's ridiculous that this thing works.
Yeah.
Oh,
but that's what the RX-7... Yeah, that's what the RX-7
what
uses.
The fuck?
Yeah, the spinning Dorito. But yeah, like I would argue that Initial D is a big reason why a lot of these cars are worth so much money. Because fucking losers will pay top dollar for a car that they have no idea that they're going to be fixing like at least 3 times once a year. Like everybody's like, yo, I totally want an 86. I want a Toyota Corolla. And I'm just like, are you Actually, it was funny. I'll never forget it. My dad actually told me that. I was like, yeah, like I was like, yo, I want this car. Not like in real life, but I got the Zip Zaps. And he's like, why are you picking this car over all of these other dope ass cars? And I'm like, because the 86, Dad. I was like freaking like, I don't know, 10 or something like that. He's like, why do you like a Toyota Corolla? I was like, what?
Amazing.
Yeah, but this MF Ghost, I don't really give a shit about the story. The story was always bad. I never gave a shit about the story for Initial D, honestly.
I mean, like going into fourth stage, I like the whole Project D thing, but then like I don't know if you watched fifth stage or final stage.
I didn't watch final stage.
So like neither of them were that good, even though they were still following the whole like let's just race everyone in Japan plotline. At the end of the day, I was only here for one reason. It was to get to the part of the race where the Eurobeat starts playing. That's all I was here for. Like,
the Project D concept was good. Like, that's honestly the only thing that I thought like was interesting, right? And goes to show that was the best season, right? Like at least like not like arguably the best season out of all of it.
Yeah.
But
Either way, we got quite a wait for this. It's still confirmed 2023 with no season given, I believe. But the fact we have a trailer is promising. Looks good enough. As long as they keep the Eurobeat, I'll be happy. But let me move on to the last item on the Weeb shit. This barely counts. It's just because I need a way to.
Freeman needs to talk about his new obsession.
Yes. So, thanks to Tyler buying me a Gundam model like 2 years ago for Christmas, me procrastinating till this year.
Yeah.
I started building more Gundam models. I'm kind of pausing. I'm what's the term I'm looking for? I'm pausing the current build I'm doing just because I'm getting kind of bored of Gundam and don't want to like burn out on it. So I'm halfway through a build. I have like a leg and a half of this one Gundam. But point is, it's getting tricky to find certain models. It's always been somewhat difficult because Bandai will like announce they're reprinting certain models this quarter with no quantities given or dates when they will actually be available. Just that they'll be out there floating around individual vendors. So it's tricky to like get a hold of these. And Bandai's even announced that like they're having trouble keeping up with orders because the popularity of the especially post-pandemic has boomed, and they haven't been able to expand their capacity. So they announced they're building a new factory for the Gunpla kits, but it won't be opening until 2024. So it'll be a little while till they deal with the supply chain problems. But good on them. I'm glad to see Gundam is still popular.
Unrelated or semi-related, but speaking of shortages of things, I saw a thing on Reddit earlier that was a pretty funny picture. It was a picture someone had taken at Micro Center with a bunch of NVIDIA graphics cards behind the case. And it said, "Nature is healing. The graphics cards are returning to Micro Center."
Nature is healing, Jesus.
That's pretty spectacular.
God damn it.
You know what else is spectacular? The things we watched and played.
Yeah, that's all this podcast really.
That's really all it turns into is what did we watch and play in the past 2 weeks?
Yeah.
So we should start. I know we have one thing on here first, but I think it's more appropriate to start.
You go ahead and shuffle it.
Just to start with, literally just to shuffle it by one, to start with the thing that took the place of the podcast last week, which was me and Virginia and Tyler saying, "I don't want to watch a movie. You guys go watch something." And Freeman goes, "Why don't we watch Memento? That's a weird movie."
Wait, Virginia? Yeah. Who the hell's Virginia?
What?
Wait, I'm confused.
I was in Virginia last week.
Oh, you in Virginia? Oh, yeah. I was like, what? I was
literally. Remember when we didn't hang last Sunday because I was in Virginia?
Yes.
Or no, we remoted in and watched Spy Family, and then everybody got off, and that was it.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, me and Freeman finally watched Memento because we had never seen Christopher Nolan's first
mindfuck.
Yeah. I think I gave it a 3.5 on Letterboxd, which was Freeman. I have the most vivid memory of finishing this movie and going, "Freeman, I'm going to give this a 3 or 3.5 on Letterboxd," and Tyler's going to see it and call me and be like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
Oh no, I don't give a shit. Like it's
I remember having no idea how to rate this movie as soon as we had finished it.
Yeah, I gave it
3.5.
Yeah, I
think it's a 3.5 movie. That's fine. I'm not.
It's a cool idea, but I don't know. It's really hard to imagine a world where this person even survives, like day to day. But it is. I think it's a cool concept. So Tyler, I think one of the things I said. So for those who don't know, the movie is about a guy who, due to a traumatic injury / event, he basically blacks out and like loses his short-term memory. He doesn't
form short-term.
He doesn't form memories anymore after past like whatever conversation he's actively in, and even halfway through he can lose it. He doesn't form memories anymore after the murder of his wife / this traumatic event. You find that out immediately. And the only information he has is like stuff he has on his person and tattoos that he puts on his body with important information. He doesn't know how long it's been since his wife died. He doesn't know anything. But the movie is told in reverse.
But it's also at the same time. Like there's two timelines.
Yeah.
One is moving forward towards the present, and one is going from the future back. And you gradually
there's an endpoint. There's an endpoint where the movie starts at the end, and then it works its way back, but there are also quote-unquote flashbacks, which are actually kind of like flash forward in the direction it's going. And then you kind of get to those points.
In chronological order.
It's very strange. Honestly, Tyler, I was saying to Freeman, this movie is only interesting because it's two gimmicks stapled together.
That.
Like the acting
Yeah,
and
I guess
everything
it
is
kinda
good,
is.
but like,
Yeah,
if
I
you-
never
if
said
you-
it was a stellar movie.
No, I know. But like, I'm just honestly talking it out. Like, the fact that it's told in reverse is the only reason that gives this any mystery at all. Really, it's kind of
the only reason I watched the movie.
yeah. Like if this was just the guy forgets things, you told it in a regular, like it feels like they came up with the idea of a guy who forgets things every like 15 minutes or so, and then they came up with shit. This movie still isn't interesting enough. How do we tell it? We tell it an interesting way. So it's not bad. I gave it a like. Honestly, I don't think I'll ever watch this again.
They gave it the like though.
I know.
I will watch this if someone else who hasn't seen it says they want to watch it, just so I could experience them experiencing it.
That's fair.
But I think I understood the plot well enough that I don't really need to watch it to re-understand it. After we finished the episode, I was confused. I thought I was confused, even though I was understanding it correctly. I ended up watching. Christopher Nolan did a like 20-minute video where he just talks through the timeline to be like, well, we reveal this here, then that happens, so you know that this happens. I'm like, all right, I commend him for doing this. I think it was like an extra feature on the DVD or something. But I commend him for like explaining it to those of us who were a little confused with his story.
Sure. But like, yeah, overall it was good. Not astounding, but like this is the guy who went on to do shit like fucking oh god. Not Inception obviously, but like what's the time travel-y one? Tenet, thank you.
He basically did the same kind of shit.
He did the same thing, but like it was less. It was, instead of being 2 parts, it was just every 5 minutes we start jumping around with timelines.
Yep. Who saw this movie? Because I had seen this movie a while ago.
Oh, Free Guy. So I watched it on Friday. My other friend group, I think they went to go see it in theaters when it came out, but I was still very COVID cautious when it was like in theaters only during the streaming era, so I didn't see it. But we finally watched it on Friday. This is a gamer movie. This is the gamer movie.
Yep.
You take Ready Player One, you dial it back about 50%, you get this movie.
You make it a comedy. That's really what it is. You make Ready Player One comedy, and you get all the references and everything, and that's this.
Yes. Overall, I enjoyed the movie. It was definitely very hokey. It was a little stupid. It was a little gamer, but all in all, I enjoyed this movie. What do I want to say here? I was shocked halfway through when there were suddenly a bunch of like Marvel and Star Wars references, and then I realized that Disney like bought the Fox movie division like halfway through the making of this movie. I'm like, oh well, that explains it. Overall, good watch. I feel like this is the kind of movie that you can show someone who's not a gamer, and it's just surface level enough that they can be like, ah, yes, gamers.
Well, I think I mentioned my coworker Laura is the one who recommended this, and she is very much not a gamer, but she loves Ryan Reynolds. The other half of the reason people watched this movie, probably.
I mean, it's
not
it's
a gamer
movie.
grill.
It's just all about him.
Yeah, it's just. Do you like Ryan Reynolds, or are you a gamer? This is it.
This is it.
Hey, gamers, do you like Ryan Reynolds? Well, then you're gonna love Free Guy.
You're gonna love Free Guy. But yeah, Freeman, you have anything else to say about it?
No, there's not too much to say about this movie. It's a fun one and done watch. Definitely, if it sounds interesting to you, give it a shot. I feel like it's hard to be disappointed by this.
I'm gonna open the next
movie.
I'm going to open the next movie with a really bold statement that I haven't been able to get out of my head since I saw this in Virginia last week. The unbearable weight of massive talent is the misfit of Demon Academy of real-life movies.
Oh, hell yeah.
Do it.
See, I'm fine with this.
Nick Cage is honest voting gold.
So no joke, I feel like this has the same exact energy where for some people, this shit is just going to click. And for some people, this shit is not going to click at all, and they're going to be like, what the fuck? And this shit clicked for me. I had a great time alone in a theater in Virginia with a not very good hamburger watching Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Damn, I feel like I know now. I feel like I know I'm going to like this movie now.
I had a different experience just because I was in a theater with a group of people who were very clearly massive Nick Cage fans. And we're laughing at every little reference.
See, I don't even know most references because I'm not a Nick Cage fan. I know of Face Off and stuff like that, but I don't watch his movies other than Pig.
Off.
But like, honestly, like just some of the antics that him and Pedro Pascal get up to, and their friendship is like pretty
Wait,
wholesome.
hold on. Have
and,
you
like,
not seen Con Air?
No.
No.
You haven't said what the
Nope.
what?
Throw it on the list, Tyler.
All right, I guess we're throwing
Now we have to have Tyler show up for a movie night so we can watch Con Air. But like
Con Air.
seriously, I
Don't move
know,
or the bunny gets it.
I don't know Nick Cage references. I just had fun.
Bro.
The chemistry between Nick Cage and Pedro Pascal was so fun. They have like this really genuine seeming connection. Freeman, the bit where they're like on LSD.
Oh, the drug sequence is phenomenal.
It was
amazing.
I thought there. I saw if you. So I was reading through Letterboxd reviews as I walked back from the theater, and some people were like, "Man, I just didn't really like. What was the point of all this?" And I'm like, I was cracking up when they were on LSD and they thought those guys were fun. And then the wall scene from the trailer was still funny. Like,
Wait, have you seen Con Air, Freeman?
No, I haven't.
No, that's
I'm
why
just
he was
saying-
saying it
that's
wasn't
what
just
I'm
me.
saying. Throw it on the list.
What about Face Off? Have you guys seen
Nope, I
Face
told
Off?
you.
No, throw it on the list.
Oh my god, what the fuck is wrong with you
So-
people?
Why do you think we have dedicated
But
movie
even
nights
then,
now for the sole
even
purpose?
then,
Jesus, y'all don't watch
even
movies.
Tyler, even then, we both enjoyed this movie. Well, I don't know if Freeman enjoyed it as much as I did, but like I
I
really
enjoyed
enjoyed this movie.
Damn.
It was a good watch.
Like I said about Misfit as a joke. It's one of those movies where you're either in the right headspace or whatever, but you're on board with exactly where it's trying to go. Because there are people who are like, oh, the stuff with the family wasn't entertaining, or it was a little too awkward, or him and Pedro Pascal don't get along, or the story is just so over the top ridiculous. I just beat for beat was with this movie. I actually might go see it again in theaters if Laura wants to go see it sometime the next week or two before the baby comes. I would genuinely go see this again in theaters. Like, I had a blast with this movie.
Damn. Michelle and I were gonna try to see it at some point.
You should. It's really fun.
You'll
Especially
definitely
if I'm
enjoy
gonna
it.
get, especially if I'm gonna get most of the references.
Dude, Freeman, that room, Tyler's going to know all those references, and we had no clue what the fuck any of that was.
The thing is, like the one, my first Nick Cage movie was National Treasure, and I immediately recognized the poster.
Yes.
But like Tyler's gonna know every
That was
single
it.
thing
Yeah,
in that scene.
that was it. You're totally right. I recognize the National Treasure poster. That's true.
My God, I saw the two guns
Yep.
from Face Off. I'm like, you gotta be fucking.
No,
kidding
we're
me.
like, there's two gold guns from a Nick Cage movie.
Yep, I know exactly which one it's from.
But yeah, I don't know what else to say. Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent just clicked for me, and I had a blast watching
Oh
it.
wait, speaking of which, that just reminded me. Did I talk about another Nicolas Cage movie that I saw the other week?
No.
What?
Ambulance.
Wait, what?
No, you didn't talk about it last time.
Oh shit,
Ambulance?
yeah.
What?
I gotta talk about
not
Ambulance.
Nicholas. That's not
Yeah,
Nicholas.
since we're talking about, oh no, it's not Ambulance. What the hell is it called? Oh no, Bringing Out the Dead. That's
This
what, Ambulance is the new movie.
Yes,
That's
it's
right.
the Jake Gyllenhaal thing.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, sorry, no. Bringing Out the Dead. That's what I watched.
Okay.
I don't think I didn't talk about this.
I've heard this name plenty of times. I've never seen it.
The final
Yeah.
film released on Laserdisc in the United States.
Yeah, it's a Martin Scorsese movie, believe it or not. I wouldn't have believed it just by looking at it, but it is. Where Nicolas Cage plays as an ambulance driver in New York City, and he's literally losing his shit
Okay.
because the job is eating him alive. Very good movie.
Solid.
Yeah, I highly recommend it actually. If you're into, I think it's definitely one of Scorsese's like strangest works. Like, I don't know, it's mostly just him having like PTSD from like being on the job for like 5 years, and it's just like he just goes through like a roller coaster of like emotion. It's pretty good. Like he actually did a very good job in this. Yeah, I recommend it.
I feel like I need to sit down and just start watching his entire filmography.
That you should not do.
Okay, not his
Because
entire.
you-
Sorry, his the bangers from his filmography.
Because then you get shit like Bangkok Dangerous or like Drive Angry, and that was during a very bad time. in his career. Haven't I've seen like enough of Drive Angry and enough of Bangkok Dangerous. Haven't seen both movies to their fullest, but I saw enough to the point where I was like, I don't want to watch the rest of this. Also, for people who are very unbiased towards Amber Heard at the moment, uh, she's in Drive Angry.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Was the Nick Cage Ghost Rider any good?
no,
No, it's pretty whatever.
my friends thought it was fun, but at the time, I think I was the only one at the time when that movie came out. I disagreed heavy. I was like, yeah, no, not this is not it, fam. But yeah, no, that's
All right.
yeah.
Enough about Nick Cage. Let's get disappointed here for a second.
Tim, you got to be shitting.
Tim, would you like to clarify what's going on in the show notes here?
So
Nah, you're
I have
revoking your man card.
shut
that
up.
guy.
So
No, you shut
no, I've
up.
talked about this before. So me and my sister-in-laws, we have been doing this thing where we watch Twilight because I've never seen it, and it's fun to take an edible and watch Twilight with them and just laugh at it.
Hold on, listeners, for context, this is the same crowd that used to watch Jersey Shore together, yes?
Me and Renee did that, and me, Renee, and Rachel were watching Twilight together, so Rachel was even
Okay.
involved. So this weekend, Rachel came up a day early and was like, "Hey, what if I just crash at your guys' place instead of going home? I can't really deal with my parents right now."
Damn.
So I was like, "Oh yeah, you know what? Why don't we catch up on? We can watch a Twilight while you're in town." And Renee came up, and me and Rachel popped an edible, and at like 10 o'clock, Breaking Dawn Part 1 ended because we watched Breaking Dawn Part 1. I'm like, fuck it, why don't we watch Breaking Dawn Part 2? Let's just finish it all right now and stay up till 1 a.m. to fucking watch at the end of this series. There's not much to this. Everyone knows it's terrible, but man, just laughing at how dumb this shit is, cracking jokes with my sister-in-laws is a great time. And yeah, the only reason they get above 0 stars is for any entertainment value of that. But boy, oh boy, are these dumb fucking movies to finish off the whole series. Like,
Tim, does Val know that she's a front?
what?
That you're actually gay? That Val's a front because you're watching these shit movies.
Tyler, just because these vampires sparkle real bright and
Real bright.
Kristen Stewart has the negative charisma. She sucks in charisma like a black hole in this movie.
Dude, it's bad. She's actually one of the worst actresses. Like, I honestly don't understand how she made it that far.
Dude, I think she's turned her career around a lot, so I don't want to talk too much shit, but like
a lot of people involved in those movies turn their career around.
I'm talking mad
Look
shit.
at Robert Pattinson. He's fucking. Actually, as soon as he stepped on scene for the first time since when we started breaking it off apart, I'm like, "Hi, Bella, I'm Batman."
Well, here's the thing. I haven't seen all the movies all the way through. I've seen some scenes, like walked in seeing scenes that like my mom and sister have watched. But I never thought he was like a bad actor, honestly. Like, I don't know. I might have said this on the podcast earlier, but I remember when we were talking about like before seeing Batman, I had more faith in him than I did in the writing of that movie. I was like, if this movie fucks up, I don't believe it'll be his fault.
Yeah, that's fair.
And like, I felt like I was right. He sold it. And luckily the writing sold it too, so.
Like, it's fun. I mean, we don't have to keep talking about it. I just thought this was a fun experience that I just wanted to remember. It was super fun to hang out with my my sister-in-laws and just watch this dumb movie. Because boy, is it dumb. What the fuck is this?
Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Oh shit! I added that later because I didn't even get the joke here.
Oh, I didn't see it, but I want to know your opinion on it because I've heard some mixed things from people about it.
Tyler, did you see it or is it just me here?
No, we were waiting because we don't like. I'm lucky I found someone who's literally like me and doesn't like crowds. So like we're
Nice.
We're
So
not
the only
going this
reason,
week,
so
but I
just
think
to
we're going
clarify, the only reason Val and I went was because my mother-in-law is a huge Marvel fanatic. She just rewatches shit all day, every day. And she was like, for Mother's Day, I want to go watch Doctor Strange. Actually, she went with Renee on Saturday because Renee was working on Sunday during the movie time. So she went with Renee on Saturday and then went with everybody else on Sunday, which was just hilarious.
Oh wow! So she
Wow.
really liked it.
So Rachel and her saw it twice. So only
I
me,
said, but
Jim,
you
and
gave
Val
this shit
saw
a
it.
3.5 stars though.
Which kind of in hindsight feels a little generous. It's
Mm.
not bad, but it really feels like one of those problems where Marvel is shooting so high. Like the multiverse is a big concept, and outside of like one montage, they don't really do that much with it. Like there's one montage and then there's a shit ton of there's literally like imagine a dimension where there's just fan service, which has already been leaked halfway because people like all the roster of people who were going to be in that like who were in this movie guys was leaked forever ago. Um but like they kind of wrap up a story that's this big so cleanly, and like I don't know, it's it's just overall it feels a little disjointed. It felt like it shot really high and also tried to be really small at the same time and kind of failed at both. I feel like that's not an uncommon thing where they kind of end up in this weird middle ground with a movie where they
We're
shot.
trying a lot, but it doesn't like fully succeed at all of it.
It's Sam Raimi doing weird shit, and this is definitely some of the weirdest shit in a Marvel movie. But at the same time, it's still a Marvel movie. So like I don't know. They go with some real horror-y looking stuff. Like you could tell. Okay, there's a point where also the synopsis for this movie is such a complete and utter lie. You have to feel like this movie got rewritten at some point. um, because the synopsis is like Wanda, Stephen Strange, and somebody else work together to stop an impending threat to the multiverse, and it's like that is not what happens in this movie whatsoever. Also, the ending feels kind of flat. I I I don't even want to spoil it, but like it's not even the full ending, but like part of the ending is the very classic, yo, someone just needed to tell you that the power was inside you all along. It's one of those moments where it's literally like there's nothing earned, there's no training, there's just I believe in you, so you should believe in you. Without Kamina punching Simone in the face, like it just feels so much less impactful. But but there's some really creepy imagery. There's some interesting ideas and stuff, but overall, just feels like it doesn't really super stick the landing, which kind of sucks.
Get blatted.
Um, I don't know what this next thing is.
Oh, Foundry Side is a book that I read.
Written words, interesting.
Yeah, written words on paper.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's on the ever-growing stack that I am reading. Um, but yeah, it's pretty good. It's a book that Michelle recommended to me.
Grab it to us. Break it down. Genre, synopsis.
It is a fantasy that leans more towards like the magical thing being like Magitech, where things are written with get this Freeman fucking runes, and to make objects believe that they're like, for layman's terms, existing in another reality. So like wheels are etched to make themselves believe that like they're on a slope or something like that. Or
Well, that's
like
cool.
yeah, or like so like there's so the carriages just kind of roll on their own, and then like you hit a button and or like a switch and it alters the runes and it makes them believe that they're on a level surface again, like shit like that. And it's about this thief that pulls off a crazy job, and just like Transporter or any other like crime show where it involves stealing a very high priced thing, the thief looks into the box and their life changes forever. It's that kind of story. But it's also
Interesting.
a heist. It's pretty good. I don't want to give it all away just in case people like want to check it out. But it's the first book in a currently ongoing trilogy. Like the third book hasn't come out yet. Actually, it's coming out next month. I'm probably not going to be able to finish it in that. Well, finish the second book in that time.
Do
But
you remember how many pages it
yeah.
was?
This one was about like 400 and some pages, 400 something.
Gotcha.
Yeah, about it's pretty short. It was very easy read. Michelle wants to reread this book first, and then we're gonna start the second book together.
Wait, hold on. So
Oh,
I see it part of a trilogy. Is the trilogy already out and the fourth is coming out, or the
oh yeah,
third of the
no,
trilogy is coming out?
the third of the trilogy is coming out.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the Founders trilogy. The second one's called Shorefall, and then I forgot what the third one was. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Like also like it stars. I'm very into, as you guys know, are fully aware. Um, what's it called? Like morally ambiguous main characters.
The
Like this
cool
one has,
guys.
yeah, the cool guy. It's some edge lords, you know. But the girl Sanchia, the main character of this book, she's not like super edgy. She's literally just a professional thief. She's very good at what she does, and she also has a very special, unique ability that she has that makes her very good. And the way she literally could have used it for anything else, but she decided she's gonna be really good at stealing stuff with this. And like, right off the bat, like they establish her like, she's like, I could kill these guys, but like I'm probably not because it causes problems, like blah blah blah. Like, so I think it's pretty cool. Um, yeah, I don't know. I would recommend it if anybody's into like fantasy or whatever, or who likes interesting like worlds with interesting magic rules in
Hmm.
them. I think they're pretty
Sounds
interesting.
like there's definitely opportunity for like very creative uses.
Oh yeah, like they get into a bunch of stuff like altering gravity, like stuff with like swords, how like and it's like they use like rudimentary programming languages. So like they have swords, right, that are etched with runes that when swung, it'll amplify to, I don't know, like 8 or 9 times Earth's normal gravity. So you're swinging a normal sword, but the sword believes that uh, it weighs more than it is, and so when it crashes into something, it just completely takes someone's like fucking head off, or like it completely like dismantles a door, shit like that.
I had to restrain every fiber of my body for when you said that these things are programmed, and then you mentioned a sword, and I want to say it was programmed in C sharp.
The sword was programmed in C sharp, dude. And then the other thing I finished, well, I say it's finished because the show is finally finished, is Ozark.
Ooh.
Uh, its
Ooh.
its final season premiered, I think, not this past weekend, but the weekend before.
Weren't they doing like a season 4 part 2 naming convention or something too?
Yeah.
I saw them like, is this Attack on Titan again? Is that what's happening?
Yes, but instead of waiting a year, I think we only waited like 3 months
That's not that
or
bad.
something like that. Honestly, the
Wow, it's
show
not like
could have
Attack on
been,
Titan, huh?
Just took a one core
yeah,
break.
just a one core break, just one core break, just to get back on track. Honestly, it could have used another like 3 or 4 episodes, though. It feels like the ending was very rushed.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I thought it was a good show. Like, I feel like they tried to close it off as well as they could. They imply a lot of things at the very end. Obviously, it's not as good as like an actual cohesive ending, but I thought it was good for what it was. Um, I mean,
Tyler, would surprise you. Would it surprise you to know that my dad really likes Ozark?
oh really? Yes, it would surprise me considering your dad tip. Well, maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Ozark's actually a bad show.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, maybe.
I
No,
was I was supposed to start watching my friends after we finished Umbrella Academy. We just heard that Westworld's final season is coming out, so we're probably going to have to switch to that and then finally get to Ozark. But
yo, let
it's
me
on the watch list.
know. what you think of Westworld because Michelle and I are watching that.
I mean, I've seen everything that's come out so far, and
Oh,
I'm like
okay.
honestly like I'm not super big on what they did with season 3, but I'm not so disinterested that I don't want to watch season 4. Like I want to give them one more season to see like can you close out this message you've been building towards.
Hmm. Yeah, I
How far,
was.
how far in are you?
I'm like towards the end of season 2.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'll let you know when I'm done with all of it.
Yeah, let me know what you think like right after you start season 3.
And then yeah, that's it. I mean, I recommend it to like anybody who likes. I mean, it has the same formula, right? Of not formula. I would argue it's not the same, but like same kind of premise ish, like of Breaking Bad.
Hmm.
You'll probably see a lot of those similarities. Some people might disagree with me. I disagree with them. It's basically the same fucking show. Um, except the female lead is a lot more effective than Skylar, I would say.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like it, like what's her face? Skylar is so annoying. I don't like her. And Jason Bateman's wife, why am I forgetting her name? Uh, but she's scary. She's a scary bitch. Like she comes on screen and I'm just like I'm not even annoyed. I'm just like you guys have seen those characters where like you just don't like them, but you don't like them because it's like, man, they're just an asshole. And then I like those characters because that means I feel like the talent is actually really
Like
delivering on
they're
this
so good at
character.
being an asshole, it gets an emotional response out of you.
Yeah, like
Like
Joffrey.
Joffrey's the like
Yeah.
yeah, he's the prime example.
Prime example like that I wish that kid, I mean he probably got more gigs after Game of Thrones. I just haven't seen it, but
He actually
like
he quit acting. Not
no
not
shit.
because of criticism. He just like didn't want to be an actor after he grew up.
Damn. You know what? Respect. Respect,
Yeah.
Witcher. Respect.
Respect Witcher.
Respect, Witcher.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. No, my ranting on that.
We don't really have to talk about the next thing on
Yeah,
here.
we do.
It's-
Tim, let's talk about a little bit of
Oh.
weeb shit here. What did you watch?
So, for anyone who's been listening to the podcast for a while,
Mhm.
Freeman and Tyler have talked about a show called Kaguya-sama. Love is Fighting.
Yeah.
And I was like, I tried it and I didn't really like it. And then 2 weeks ago when we recorded the podcast, I was like, kind of binged all of season 1 and most of season 2 with Val before I went to Virginia. And then come today, Val and I are completely up to date on the show, and I watched the newest episode. Neither of these guys have yet.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason for that why I haven't. So,
boy, here
we're not
we
gonna get into
go.
that right
Here
now. We're not
we
gonna get
go.
into that.
So, Kaguya-sama Love is War is very funny. I don't know why it didn't click with me before, but this show is a lot of fun and a lot of funny.
Honestly, I think it's just the first part of season 1 is just kind of rough, and then it figures out what it's doing in the second half, and then season 2 is like peak Kaguya.
You know what it is? It's this. So the other thing I was going to talk about, and I'll just briefly mention, is Komi-san Part 2 has started airing on Netflix once a week. And the thing that's different about the two is Kaguya realized you can do more than just the bit, which is them working against each other.
Oh, you can move past your initial premise.
Yeah, whereas Komi-san doesn't. But Kaguya absolutely does. Like, it's in this season, but you guys have already seen it. The 10 pence or the 10 yen game where they put it under the blanket.
Well, that's season 3, so Tyler hasn't seen it yet.
I don't remember that.
Oh shit.
No, it's cool.
Never mind.
It's fine. I'll just remove myself
No.
from the conversation.
No. Playing a game, and people keep trying to trick each other and
All I was
confessing.
gonna say, all I was gonna say is it was funny after binging so much of it it was almost like a breath of fresh air to get back to the whole them working against each other and mind gaming against each other thing. Whereas previously, they started only sprinkling that in, and I think it makes the show a lot more successful to sometimes focus on secondary characters or have weird other events. Like this last episode is one of the weirdest. It's just one of the weirdest episodes of anime I've ever fucking seen. I'm not even kidding. Like, there's just weird. I was laughing. I was like, what the fuck? Like, I was screaming at the TV. Like, Val will tell you, I was freaking out at episode 5 of Kaguya season 3. But it's just really good. I don't know why I didn't like it. Like you said, Freeman, season 1, the beginning is just kind of another stale, here's our gimmick, we're going to run into the ground. But they move past that, thankfully, and it makes the show a lot better for it.
Honestly, I wonder if it's just because they tone back how much the narrator is talking versus the characters just doing their thing. Like,
it is funny when he comes in.
Yeah, in season 3, they've gotten to the point where it's just like when the narrator talks, he's being just as extreme as fuck, and just like in the middle of a punchline, he'll deliver a second.
Yes, and then he's just quiet again.
As opposed to the beginning where it's like, I'm gonna narrate what everyone's doing, and it's not really.
I am thinking this thing. She is thinking that thing.
Yeah.
I will say it's really funny how season 3 starts out with rebuilding the school because the school blew up at the end of season 2, and they had 2 seasons in mind, and they were like, oh shit, this is actually really popular. I guess we should keep this show going.
I mean, like, so when season 2 ended, they didn't confirm a season 3, and they left a vaguely shaped 3 shape on the final card to be like, if we want to go back and re-edit it for the Blu-rays after there's a confirmation, we totally can. And that's exactly what they did.
Jesus. I'm just glad it got more. This is exactly the kind of show. Like, I don't know if Komi-san doesn't fix itself by the end of part 2, I don't know if I'd watch more Komi-san. I will happily watch more Kaguya because I care about this cast of characters now because of all the stuff they've done. Like the training arc with the president doing volleyball, fucking stuff in season 3 that like there's so many events that are not just the president and Kaguya mind gaming each other. And that makes the show have a lot more breadth and width to me, and I like that a lot.
So I'm ready to deliver my spicy take about anime in general right now. The industry needs more comedies that are actually funny, and less of these shows where it's just this nothing burger main character and then a seasonal waifu, like Nagatoro or like Shikimori. So we need less of that shit, and we need actual comedies.
So I actually I wasn't sure if I should bring it up, but since you just said the word, Freeman, honestly, Shikimori, Val and I haven't watched it in 2.5 weeks, and I have felt negative drive to watch more of that show.
Yeah, I'm caught up on it just because I watch it on one of my teleworking days for lunch. It's honestly drop potential. This show is not doing anything unique. It's not like there's anything particularly wrong with it, but it's like we're at the point in our lives where there's other shows, there's other shit we can be doing, and this really doesn't have that much of a draw to it.
Yeah. It looked really pretty. She is drawn pretty, but when you compare, like, when you compare something like Shikimori to not even like just Spy Family, but like, I don't know, fucking again like Kaguya-sama, like you just compare it to shows like that, and you're like, man, there's such more interesting stuff out there.
I know, right?
Even Tonikawa is like just like I don't know, maybe Tonikawa isn't as good as we think it is, but like.
I mean, you guys love it way more than I do, but I still
fair.
think that Tonikawa has the advantage that the main character isn't a nothing burger main character.
Yeah.
If anything,
he does have depth and character.
If anything, what's her name? Tsukasa? Is that her name? I'm trying to. It's been so long.
Oh, Moon. Just call her the Moon Girl.
Moon Girl. She's arguably the flattest like heroine of shows in this particular archetype.
Mm-hmm.
But
I will say, Freeman, you watching Shikimori means you saw episode 3 where the dad has the funniest 2 lines in the whole fucking show.
Did I?
Remember I was talking about it last time and you hadn't watched it? It's when the dad goes, "Oh, having an affair in front of me, you're gonna make me cry."
Oh yes, that one.
That was so fucking funny.
Dude, his parents are amazing.
Speaking of comedies, Freeman, did you ever get to try Trapped in an Otome game?
No, I didn't start it. I'm struggling to catch up on existing anime, and it wasn't something that I thought I'd really want to watch, so I didn't. Not that I think it's bad. It's just
I know you. I've only been bringing it up since I started watching. I will say, like, looking at my 8 entries on shows that are airing this season that I'm watching, Spy Family, Otome Game, Kaguya, and Bookworm are like the 4 of the 8 that I'm more excited than the other 4 to watch.
Like I still have to catch up on Bookworm before I pick up anything else.
And then 5th is like Dance Dance. Honestly, Val and I have been having fun with Dance Dance.
You want to call it DDR every time you guys call it Dance.
But I mean, it's done by Mappa, so it's just pretty.
Yeah.
We don't need to talk about the flop of the season, fucking Shield Hero.
We'll deliver our scathing review.
Yeah, I know. We shouldn't have even gotten into this. I didn't want to give an anime. Although I will say, you know what's weird?
You finished season 2. It's eligible for talking about.
Well, no. We're halfway through this season. Like all of these shows except Spy Family. Well, actually, even Spy Family. Like,
I'd say like we're on week 5 out of 12/13. So
you know what's halfway, Freeman?
A week or two where I'd say
Bookworm is halfway. Yesterday was halfway for Bookworm because my anime list says it's only 10 episodes and we watched 5. So we're
okay, Bookworm is halfway done, but I'd argue the rest of the season has 1 or 2 more weeks before I'd say we're at the halfway point.
Sure, but like you're right, but like this week / next week is the halfway hump of the season, which feels really fucking weird. Feels like we just started the season.
Who would have thought that in 5 weeks, a month and a quarter would go by?
Shut the You're reminding me of the meme I saw literally as I walked into work this morning, but I've seen it before in the past, where it was like telling first graders that take your age, add 3, and then subtract 3, and that's your age, and it's all them making shocked Pikachu faces. And it's just...
I don't know if you know this, but apparently like 1 in every 4 people make up 25% of the population.
Jesus.
Absolutely mind-blowing statistic here.
So another thing that is not anime is... So, Val's sister, Rachel, binged on HBO Taika Waititi's new HBO show, Our Flag Means Death. The story of Stede Bonnet, who the internet historian hysterically covered like a year and a half ago in his Sundance Rejects, shockingly well, which no one else who I speak to even watches Internet Historian, which is very sad.
I know of him, I just don't watch him regularly.
Well, he did... So... Rachel watched this and then was like, Val, you need to watch this. And Val and Leslie had a day free last week, so they started and binged a bunch of Our Flag Means Death. And then Val, of course, was like, Tim, I don't like when you make me watch shows, but I'm going to make you watch the fuck out of this show. So she made me start watching Our Flag Means Death. It is funny. I don't think it's as incredible as Val and Leslie and Rachel have said it is.
Oh, they hyped it up and they showed us the trailer last Thursday, and I'm sitting here like, is this the same show they were hyping up 5 minutes ago?
You know what it is? It's the same kind of thing. So, this is the new modern comedy of like this and Schitt's Creek and stuff like that, where it's like the Office of the next generation, I think. But
because that's what we need, another generation of Office.
No, I mean, I like Schitt's Creek, but I get what you're saying.
But no. It's not even that. It's like a comedy with it's almost like the anime comedy we watch, honestly, where not because the story doesn't progress. This is one of those comedies where the story actually progresses and there's stuff that's happening and they just make the moments funny. But I don't know, I just wasn't... I mean, I definitely was entertained. I'm not unenjoying the show, but I wasn't... Again, it's not another case of, oh my god, everybody needs to watch this. But it's good. Our Flag Means Death is good if you have HBO Max. Taika Waititi yet again falling into the role of playing a super villain from history and just making it funny and entertaining.
Are you sure they just don't like it because they're just gay pirates?
See, they're not...
Perhaps.
Like...
Answer the question, Tim.
But it's not like Vanitas where it's like aggressively gay. Nothing I've seen is like these are gay pirates.
I wanted to make a joke earlier, Tyler, about you making fun of Tim watch this movie about gay vampires and then turning to sit down with Val to watch your anime about gay vampires.
Yeah.
Tyler doesn't do that by choice, though. He does it to entertain Val.
I do. I do.
Yeah.
It got a little weird. I mean, quick aside for Vanitas, it got real weird, but that's pretty much it. I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
But yeah,
Our
Flag Means Death is definitely entertaining if you have HBO Max, but it's again, it's an interesting concept and it's funny, and if it clicks with you, fantastic. I don't know. Maybe I'm too into anime these days. It's not animated enough. Nothing's happening fast enough for me. I'm too ADHD these days. um, and then
Don't
the
die to
last
normal
thing
sizes.
on my list that I have across my apps that I finished. So when I was driving down to Virginia last week for work, that's a 5 hour. That's more like a 6.5, especially with traffic. Hour drive each way. I was listening to one of my podcasts and they mentioned a new Netflix documentary called Bad Vegan, which is about this woman whose name I can't remember, who opened like this first big famous vegan restaurant in New York City years ago called Pure. Um, and she basically falls in with this guy who's a con artist. And they spend years together, and then eventually they go on the run because of money laundering and all this stuff, and it's wild. And the guy on the podcast was kind of hyping it up. He's like, I've only seen the first 2 episodes, but it's pretty good. So I was like, fuck it. It's like The Last Dance. I really liked The Last Dance. That was a good documentary on Netflix. I'll try this one. And this is more interesting than listening to a podcast. You know, I kind of just want to mix it up after sitting in the truck for that long, the work truck. So I threw it on Netflix and I listened to the first 2 episodes because, again, it's a documentary. Like, you're pretty okay to just listen. And I'm like, oh, this is pretty interesting. They get into like how she met this guy, how she started her business, how it started off so simple, and then it ends with him being like, yo, I'll make your dog immortal, and
What?
I'm a secret black ops agent, and I have this iced tea guy who's secret, and like all this shit. It's fucking wild. It is wild, but I listened to the first 2 episodes in the truck, and then I got to Virginia. We hung out. We watched Spy Family, and then I watched the other 2 before bed. And honestly, this is a decent documentary that goes on too long.
How many
And
episodes total was it?
4 episodes. They're like 45 minutes each, and honestly, you could have done it in like 2 or 3. Like, they really linger on like some of this stuff with like her, like, she doesn't pay her employees, and then they scrounge the money, and they just kind of breeze past how she scrounges a couple $1 million to reopen her business, and then it all gets flushed down the toilet again with this guy who just spends all this money gambling, and like she just lets it go. They play phone conversations with them where like she's yelling at him and he's yelling at her, but they just stay together. It's one of those like really kind of sad seeming abusive relationships, but also they kind of end it with some people being like, meh, but she's probably also pretty responsible and she got off scot-free. And then a lot of the reviews on Letterboxd were like, yo, how did they just kind of brush under the rug that like she definitely was involved. Like, this is years and years of seeming money laundering. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. So, and like, the reason she met this guy is because he had 50,000 followers on Twitter and was like talking to Alec Baldwin, and that's how they fell in together. So it was like she was literally just talking to a guy she thought was famous and had an in with Alec Baldwin, who was like visiting her restaurant at the time. So I don't know. It wasn't bad, and it's an interesting story, but it was definitely longer than it needed to be. But it kind of makes me still want to keep occasionally watching Netflix documentaries. Like, there is sometimes interesting stuff on there.
Oh yeah, I'm looking into a couple right now just because. Quick tangent before we close it all down, but Fate Grand Order is doing a new collaboration, and the new Servant is based on Voyager 1 spacecraft. So I spent a lot of time this week like reading into like the history of NASA space launches. So I was just like, I know loosely about this, but like, what's all this lore they're trying to hide in Fate about this one particular space probe? So now I'm like, I want to see if there's more documentaries on this out there.
Yeah, and I mean, there's the Boeing documentary that I still want to watch because I literally do business with my company works with Boeing.
Corporate espionage.
Yes, exactly. It's on
Corporate
Netflix.
espionage.
Corporate espionage. Watching a Netflix documentary.
Watching Netflix documentaries.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I heard that there's one about like a guy on like who was a con artist on Tinder and stuff like that. Like,
oh yeah, that one blew up.
yeah, I don't want to fall into the trap of watching true crime shit all the time, but I don't know, like things like The Last Dance was really cool where it was like, hey, here's a thing that you can watch that's like an interesting story that's something about you're not super an expert on, but it's interesting.
And I think the big appeal is a lot of these are like things that actually happened.
Meltdown, 3 Mile Island. A documentary about the 3 Mile Island incident. I would happily watch this. I'm going to add this to my list. I would love to know more about 3 Mile Island. Like, I've heard that name so many times, but I've never really known what happens with it. I watched High Score. That was a kind of interesting one. Obviously, the movies that made us stuff and games that made us is something that I always enjoy. Like, there's cool stuff on here. So, anyway, we can definitely wrap it up there. But yeah, so that's. I don't have anything else unless you guys have anything else that you guys watched or played.
No,
You get
that's
to play
it.
any video games at all.
Besides Fate Grand Order, but I don't talk about that on the podcast, even though I do, but I don't.
I do, but I don't, but I do. Tyler, you got anything? You good?
I got nothing else. I'm done.
All right. So yeah. So who knows? Hopefully the next podcast will be in 2 weeks. But we'll have to see what happens.
I thought we were gonna continue to pretend the podcast was canceled.
Well, I don't know. I genuinely don't know, and I don't even want to joke about it when I don't know. So
Goodbye forever, listeners.
We'll see when the podcast is back. Who knows? I might have a special guest from that you can hear throughout the entire house by the next podcast. But
the new guest.
The podcast will not be canceled. There will still be stuff in the future. I just gotta figure it out myself. But
3 years
interesting.
later.
Yeah. The return again. I swear this time I'm coming back for real, guys. But until next time, everybody, because there will be a next time, my name is Timpedia.
I'm Friedman.
Just Tyler.
And we'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for listening.